Nina Gill, Labour MEP for the West Midlands. You're not new to the European Parliament, but you're back here after a break of 5 years. A reminder then about your background, your areas of interest, where you've worked in the past.
Well, actually, a lot has changed here in the Parliament since I was here last. But, for me, the key area of interest is how do we get more investment back into UK, into the Midlands, and jobs is our number one priority, and especially for young people. We have one of the highest unemployments in the country, in the West Midlands, and I want to make sure that we get some of the opportunities, that funding opportunities that the EU offers, back into the region. So the Youth Guarantee Scheme is really one of my top priorities. But I also hope to be able to pick up some of my other work that, I did quite a lot on saving the tiger and those initiatives, and I was working with a number of organisations. And I think it's important that we use the muscle of the EU to try and, to put forward those particular cases. So, vis-a-vis the tiger is being exterminated really because of the demand from Southeast Asia for their parts. And we need to use the EU force to try and address those. And I think, the discussions that I'm having with the business organisations, with other organisations in the region, is what they want is, in a sense, for the MEPs to bat for them, to raise their profile, to get the investment in, but also to perhaps reduce some of the legislation. So, one of the demands of the Chamber of Commerce is like for every one piece of legislation that we approve, we actually try and get rid of 2 pieces of legislation. So I think those are important milestones for us to try and push through.
And you mentioned that things have changed since you were here before. In what way, and how does it perhaps help you fight on behalf of the region out here in Brussels?
I think we've got, within the Labour group, we're much stronger. So there's 20 of us, and a lot of the new MEPs coming from very different background. So we have a great team of new MEPs, which will help us to bat above our strength, in the region. And the other ways, I suppose the Parliament does now understand that they do have to streamline, and so that also will help us to achieve our objectives. I suppose the other ways is like we have to wait and see who's the British Commissioner. Once we know who the British Commissioner is, we could work alongside to push forward our UK agenda within the Parliament, but also in the Commission.
And a brief word about your opposition within the region, the rise of UKIP across the UK. How are you perhaps going to tackle that and put forward a different point of view? And do you see that as part of your job as a Labour MEP for the West Midlands?
Well, clearly we have a great difference in policy terms. We want to deliver for the many. We want to make sure that the European Union is reformed, but in a constructive way. We don't just want to bash the EU. And I think it's really up to how UKIP organise themselves. I mean, their record in terms of changing legislation, in terms of actually being effective in the Parliament, is not great. So it will be interesting to see how the 3 new MEPs in the region, UKIP MEPs, actually perform. I mean, we'll be very vigilant and see, because we don't want to see our region shortchanged, because it's important all the MEPs work to make sure there's effective representation for the West Midlands, and to only way to make a difference over here is to be engaged in the committee work. If you work hard, you can change things. You have to be effective on committees, and I will be monitoring to see if UKIP do turn up to their committees, if they do take up reports, and we shall see. But clearly we want to make sure we get the best deal for the region, and we stand up for the region. And you don't stand up for the region if you don't participate in any of the meetings, or you don't vote for anything in the chamber. And you have to make sure you vote for things that will be of benefit to all in the region.